5 unusual airlines that really exist. CNN. In the late 1970s, the US government deregulated the airline industry, removing federal control over fares, routes, and the entry of new airlines into the market. As a result, a flurry of new airlines appeared from the 1980s onward, and some of them are particularly unusual. Let's take a look. Pat Airways. Founded in 2009 in Delray Beach, Florida, Pat Airways was an airline exclusively dedicated to pets, such as cats and dogs, or passengers, as they called them. They flew without their owners in the main cabin of specially adapted aircraft in which the seats had been replaced with carriers. Each aircraft could carry about 50 pets with a pet attendant checking on them every 15 minutes. Before taking off, the animals were given a pre-flight walk and a bathroom break in especially designed airport lounges. The idea was concerned pet owners would rather go to the length of flying their pets through a dedicated airline rather than having them on board their own flight in the cargo hold. A practice the Pat Airways website described as dangerous, citing extreme temperature variations and the lack of proper lighting. The airline operated for about 2 years, serving a dozen U.S. cities, including New York, LA, Denver, Chicago, and Atlanta. Fares started at $150 and could go as high as $1,200, depending on the size of the animal. In 2012, the airline ran into financial trouble and started canceling flights before ceasing operations completely the following year after having ferried about 9,000 pets. However, its website is still active and the message states flights to commence post-COVID, hopefully mid-2022, suggesting there might be a second life on the horizon for the Pat airline. Hooters Air. Spin-off. Hooters girl Hillary Benson front attends to passengers on the 2003 flight. In 2002, Robert Brooks, chairman of the restaurants chain Hooters, acquired Pace Airlines, a charter carrier with a fleet of 8 aircraft, mostly Boeing 737s. The next year, he turned it into Hooters Air, an airline designed after the restaurant chain. Its distinction was other than the bright orange livery design featuring a googly-eyed owl that 2 so-called Hooters girls were on board, mingling with the passengers and hosting trivia games with gadget prizes, wearing the same tank top and the orange short uniform popularized by the restaurant. They did not serve food or handle on-board duties, however, as these are carried out by 3 FAA certified flight attendants. The airline was based in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, a vacation hotspot known for its golf courses and seaside resort, which had lost direct airline traffic in the general restructuring of commercial aviation following 9/11. Due to its budget, pricing, and direct connections to the cities such as Atlanta, Duwak, and Baltimore, Hooters Air attracted passengers of all kinds, mostly golfers and tourists. but families as well. However, it was never successful enough to make money and ceased operations in early 2006 due to the rise in fuel prices following hurricanes Katrina and Rita. The Road Airline. A win and a prayer. The Road Airline plane at Miami International Airport in August 1988. Strictly no alcohol on board, Bibles and Torahs instead of the in-flight magazines. Only religious movies on show, and a quarter of the fares devoted to finance missionary work. These were the unique features of the Rhodes Airline, founded by New Jersey businessman Ari Marshall in 1985, when he purchased an old DC-8 that was meant to be the airline's lone aircraft. The plan was to have 3 weekly flights from Miami to Ben Gurion Airport in Israel, offering the direct route to Jerusalem, about 30 miles away. At the time, religious pilgrims looking to reach the Holy Land had to catch a connecting flight to New York. The Russians have their airline, the British have one, so does Playboy. So why shouldn't the Lord have an airline all his own? Marshall said in 1986, according to the Associated Press. By 1987, however, the airline had failed to qualify for the FAA license because of the unfinished modifications and maintenance works on the aircraft. Investors became nervous and removed Marshall, installing a new board of directors to move things along. The new chairman, Theodore Listjust, did not see eye to eye with Marshall, and the two started bickering in the press. Eventually, Listjust and his brother showed up on Marshall's house demanding corporate records, which resulted, according to newspaper report, in the scuffle and Marshall suing them for trespassing. They were acquitted, but the Rhodes Airline eventually perished and the aircraft ended up being scrapped. Smokers Express and Smith Air. The Smoke and Mirrors, a model of the Smithar plane, the real version never motorized. The FAA banned smoking on all domestic flights in the U.S. in 1990, but William Watt and George Richardson, two entrepreneurs from Florida's Bluebird County, weren't happy about it. In early 1993, they decided to circumvent the rule by establishing the airline based on the flight club, private club. It required a $25 membership fee and was only open to people over 21. The airline was meant to be based at the Space Coast Regional Airport in Titusville, Florida, and the plan was to offer steaks and burgers on board with a side of free cigarettes. Almost a year after it was announced, however, the airline still had no license nor a plane, and although the founders reportedly claimed to have ranked in over 5,000 memberships, regulators denied it. Smokers Express a license to operate, making it disappear in a puff of smoke without ever taking off. In 2006, the idea was revamped by German entrepreneur Alexander Schopman, who declared the intention to start Smokers International Airways, or Smith Air for short. Schopman, who smoked 30 cigarettes a day, wanted to launch a daily service between Tokyo and Düsseldorf, his hometown, home to a large number of Japanese expats and the European offices of hundreds of Japanese companies. Both countries still had significant numbers of smokers at the time. However, Smith Air suffered the same fate as Smokers Express. It failed to raise the capital required to start operations and never took to the air. Mgm Grand Air. Inaugurated in 1987, Mgm Grand Air was the first class-only, super luxury airline that initially covered a single route, LAX to JFK, using Boeing 727 and Douglas DC-8 aircraft in lavish configurations. The rule was no flight could have more than 33 passengers, although the planes could carry 100 or more in standard setup. The airline promised no queues, no check-ins, and no waiting for luggage. Porters whisked bags onto the plane and returned them at the destination, and even offered an optional door-to-door limousine service. Special lounges at both airports offered luxury amenities and concierge service. On board, there were 5 flight attendants and stand-up bar, as well as private compartment for meetings. A pool meal service with fine wine and champagne was always available, and the restroom had golden faucets and monogrammed soap. All of this was offered at just more than the cost as a first-class ticket on other airlines. Initially popular with celebrities and very wealthy, Mgm Grand Air eventually opened more routes, but was struggling to fill up all of the 33 seats on each planes. Operations slowed down in the 1990s as private jet became more widespread, and in 1995 the airline was sold and changed its name to Champion Air, offering chartered flights to sports teams and government agencies. It eventually shut down completely in 2008. The top image: the Hooters plane arrives to beat Newark Liberty International Airport in Duwak, New Jersey, April 3, 2003. Credit Matthew Payton, Cathy Images.